now attach our pages that we've created inside here on this line. So if I put my ruler there, there's where my spine, where the start of my cover is, and I want to attach that there, so when it is up in place, and everything's where it should be, I have enough space on the sides, the top and the bottom, and I'm going to leave this loose. So it's going to be a loose cover. So I'm not going to attach the spine. You will see now, like that. So when we open it, this part is sort of like a folio, but not. Okay. And then once we've got all of our stuff in, the spine is will stay up. Right, so we're going to attach this to this. And what I would do is I'm going to use tape and glue. The glue will give me a bit of movement. So I'm just going to apply some glue. Okay, so remember there's the gusset. So you want to just apply the glue not too close to the gusset, to the fold line. But I want to make sure I get a good amount of glue onto my tape, just to make the tape a smooth, I've got a chance to move things around. The glue will make it slippery. So then I like to take a piece of the tape and then just work that in. You can use your finger if you want. I just don't like to get all sticky. Right, that'll do. Okay, so we are going to attach that piece flush against here, and you're going to center it top and bottom. Okay, so if I turn it like that, you can see. So about the same distance from the top and the bottom. It's about 1/2 centimeter from the top and 1/2 centimeter from the bottom. And I want to make sure that it's flush against the spine. Okay, I'm good with that. I'm going to open that up now. Right. And then just work that in. Any excess glue you can then just take off. I've got one of those little rubbers. There we go. Takes it all off nicely. Right. So I can see that my score line lines up nicely with the edge of my album, and we can then just burnish that in place. There we go. Any excess glue we're just gonna wipe off afterwards, but you can see that by burnishing it, you can see the glue that's coming out means I'm getting rid of all the air bubbles. And then I maybe have put on a little bit too much glue. But that's all good. So work it out. Make sure of that. Perfect. So now when my pages close, my spine will stay up because I'll have all the support inside here. Okay. And then this closes like this. Okay, and then I have a nice loose spine so that my album will lay flat. Right. Let's clean off. Pop in. Okay, so now we can start to add the page inserts. Okay, so we are going to start with the first flap. So you need a piece F, and this is going to attach like this to here. So what is that? We can attach it. I normally just eyeball it, but for the sake of the class, we'll do 1 centimeter from the top. Right. So we're going to attach piece F to piece A. We can work 1 centimeter from the top. Okay. I've put my tape on the inside so that I can attach my page to the back of page A, but you can attach it to the front if you prefer. I like to do it this way, so I'm just going to slide that in, more or less 1 centimeter from the top, and I'm making sure that I do not go over the score line on my piece F, but that it's pretty straight and firmly against this sheet A. So if I turned it this way, you can see that there's like almost half a mil of a gap between piece A and the score line on piece F. Okay, so we can just burnish that in place. Right, so that is going to cover like that. Right, so on piece B, you need your belly band, which is piece C, and we're going to attach that 1 centimeter from the edge of piece B. Okay. Right. So this time I will attach my belly band on top of piece B, and that's going to go in attached like that. Okay. Let's do that. So I want to attach it flush against the base, the bottom of piece B. Flush against the page, 1 centimeter away from the edge. And that's going to go at the top there, like that. Right, you will notice, I'll show you again, before I attach this down, I don't want that to happen, so I smooth it out to make sure there's no bulk or air bubble, and then I've got it flush against the edge like that. Okay, so that gives me piece C in place, and this I want to add a pocket to the front of this. Right, to do that, you're going to need your piece E, and your piece D, and I want to show you, and your piece of acetate. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to, inside of piece E, you're going to measure 1.5 centimeters from either side, from the score line 1.5, from that score line 1.5, from that score line 1.5, and draw a line. You will then, we're then going to cut it out to create a frame like this. Okay. Let's do that quickly. Okay, and I think it's important when you draw your lines to have them go past where they intersect. That way, when you put your ruler down, I can see I have to cut from there all the way down. So I have a starting point of where I need to trim. Okay, and the same when we do it this side. So I can see I mustn't go further down than that line that I've allowed to go over. And that'll help so that you don't cut too far. So So now I can see that there's a line over there and a line over there, and I need to start there and finish there. So those guidelines are very helpful when it comes to cutting out a frame like this. Okay, and now you can see I haven't cut through, so just go again. Don't pull it because it's going to make little ruffles. Okay, I can feel that I haven't cut through there, so I'm just going to give it a little help, and there we go. Right, so you can just keep this piece for later. Okay, so once you've done that, we're going to attach our acetate in to be inside here like that to create the base, well, the front of our pocket. Let's see. I want it to line up with the top. That looks good. How about this way? Might need to trim it a little bit. I think that's better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put tape around the frame like that. I prefer to put tape on my cardstock rather than on the acetate. Try and make sure that you line that tape up flush against, as close to the cut edge of your frame as possible. Okay. Like that. And also you don't want to go over, otherwise you're going to have sticky stuff on the other side of your page, or the other side of your frame. There we go. Remember, you want to burnish the tape. Right, and then I'll go and put another, well, let's see how far this acetate's going to reach. Yeah, so I don't think I need to add anything extra. That'll do. Right. Okay, that's fine. So you want to then attach, I will attach this piece, well, let's do it from this side rather, because then we can So you're going to remove your tape backing. I'm going to attach my piece of acetate flush against my fold line and kind of center it. There we go. And then just put that on. And then if there is any overhang, you can then just trim that off, line it up and trim it off. There we go. Right, so we can then just burnish that in place. You want to make sure that that tape has adhered to your acetate really well. You don't want your acetate coming off once you've got a whole lot of stuff inside here. Okay, so we make sure that that is nicely in place. Right, we're going to attach this to the front part, to piece F. So your piece E is going to attach to piece F. Right, but I would attach this piece once I've put some pattern paper here. I find it very difficult to slide paper in while we're trying to embellish. So this piece I wouldn't attach now. What you can do though is we can just lift this piece here and tuck that down and do the same here. So this is optional. You can really attach it now if you want to. I just find that it's easier for me to put a piece of pattern paper in place before I attach this pocket. Okay, so let's do that. And that is where your paper clips will come in very handy. So that's where that's going to go once it's on, right? And because like I say, I want to put my pattern paper on first, if you just put a paper clip to keep it all in place before we add the pattern paper, that'll work. So we can add the little flap. So you will need your piece, where did it go? D, right? I've again put the tape at the back, and I'm going to have it go behind I'm going to attach it behind this piece of paper. Again, slightly away, and then that becomes, okay, so I've attached it, I'll take this off, behind this one. Okay, so I think we'll just put another paper clip here so we hold it in two places like that, so we can still open and close. Right, so that's going to go over there, and I'm going to just, to keep the flap from flappering, I'm just going to add another paper clip like that. Okay, so that then creates the front page. So we open that up. Okay, then you would have already cut your insert G. That's going to slide in over here like that. Right. Okay, we'll come back to this part in a bit. Right, so we're going to repeat this whole process on this side. Okay, so we will start by adding our flap. So you need your piece F that is going to attach to piece A. Remember, I have the tape on the inside, and we're going to attach that about 1 centimeter from the top of the page. About 1 centimeter. Gizmo, I'm nearly done, then I'll let you out. Right, so remember, we're going to slide that in so that it's just away from that score line, about 1/2 mil away from the score line. There we go, turn that over, that's good. Right, then we're going to add the belly band to piece B, so you need your piece C. Okay, we're also going to attach that 1 centimeter away from the edge. There we go. Right. Okay, so this one goes flush against the bottom of page B of your B, 1 centimeter away, flush against there. There we go. We know that it's going to go straight. Right, so we can remove the tape backing from here. I'll take you for a walk now, little fries. Okay. Remember, you want to get it in straight. Make sure there's no bulk or air bubble. Hold it flush and push it down flat. Burnish that in place. Burnish and burnish. Right. There we go. That is your belly band in place. Right, so we want to finish up with this flap. Okay, so remember to measure your 1.5 centimeters and then cut out your frame, and you will need your other piece of acetate. Okay, let's add the tape to the inside of my frame, as close to the cut edge as possible. Where's my key? There it is. Again, as close to the cut edge as possible. So your piece E. Okay, right, so we can burnish that in place. Right, before we attach the acetate, you need to make sure that you've got it in the right direction. That looks right. Okay, so I'm going to attach this. I'm going to work on top of my album so that you can see. I'm going to attach this flush against and kind of centered like that. There we go. Like that. Okie dokie. Let's pull off the tape. There you go. You want to make sure that it gets to the top. So don't put it so far down that you have a gap between where the top of your pocket is. Right, so you'll have to pull it off and do it again. There you go. Next one. Next one. Right, so you just want to burnish all of that down. Make sure that acetate really sticks down firmly. There we go. A good burnish and bond of the acetate to the cardstock. There we go. And remember, that little overhang we can then trim off. So again, this one, like I say, I would rather attach it once I have put a piece of pattern paper down. So that can go there. Can lift it up, and in we go. Okay, we'll close that up. Right, so this piece we're going to attach here. It's going to go on like that. We'll use some paper clips. We can attach it later. press G to slide in behind the belly band. Okie dokie. And you can see that as we start to fill up the album, this will grow and this will stay up, and the gussets will be a little bit firmer, and they will then stay up in place. Okay. We'll also reinforce this with some washi tape. Right, so there we go. That is the start. Okay, so we can then start to add the next little bits. Okay, so we are going to start to add the rest of the flaps and pockets. So we're going to start by adding the belly band. The belly band, you'll attach it 1 centimeter away from the score line. So if you just take your ruler and a pencil and then just make a mark at 1 centimeter. And then at the top, and then that'll give you a guide so that when you attach your belly band you can get it in straight, and it's a good distance to be able to put your insert in. So you want to attach your belly band flush against the bottom of the page. Make sure that it's on nice and straight. Line it up with the score marks that you've made. Before you burnish, make sure that it's in place, and then just turn the album around. And then I like to smooth out the belly band. Make sure there are no bubbles in there. Okay, and then remove the tape backing and attach the top of the belly band to the top of the page. And again, you want to make sure that it's nice and flush and that it's straight, and then you can burnish that in place. All right. Okay, and then the insert that goes in there is the piece that measures 30 centimeters, and it has been scored at 11. And you can put it in either this way or the other way around. It's entirely up to you. Okay, and we're going to repeat that now on the inside of the next page. So we're going to do that again. You're going to open up, and there we're going to attach the belly band again 1 centimeter away from the score line. So you will again, from your score line, measure 1 centimeter, another 1 centimeter, remove the tape backing from your belly band, and attach that next to the mark you made, your 1 centimeter mark, flush against the bottom of the page. You want to be sure that it's nice and straight before you burnish the bottom in place. There we go. Right, and then again we're going to attach at the top. Remember to smooth it out, make sure there's no air bubbles in there, and that it actually attaches flush against the top. If it doesn't, this is your opportunity to fix it. Once it's stuck and burnished, then it's a whole different ball game. Okay, so making sure that it's flush against the bottom, making sure that it's nice and tight and lines up with my 1 centimeter mark. Looking for my burnishing tool. There we go. I can burnish that in place like that. Okay, and again we're going to add the insert, that the 30 centimeter one that's been scored at 11 to give you a nice flap for your place to add some photographs. Okay, so there we go. And as you add more goodies to the pockets and the pages, it'll fill up, and before you know it, your album will be nice and full of all the good stuff. So I wouldn't add anything more inside just yet until we've added the pattern paper and the photographs and things like that. Okay, so the covers, I'm going to do the same on the front and the back. We're just going to make a pocket. I've chosen to make a pocket with a bit of a gusset. Okay, and I've also already cut the corners and everything, but I'm going to show you because we've got a 1/2 centimeter gusset, this one's a little different. So I've drawn a line to show you where you need to cut out. So you don't cut on the first score line, you cut on the second score line, and again on the second score line. you need to cut that little square out like that. You can do that on both sides. So on the first score line, on the second score line, you'll cut off that little square, just a little snip. There we go. And then you're going to miter the corners. I've also drawn the lines so that you can see. Again, from the fold line away, you'll turn that over, and again from your first score line away. Just a slight little angle just to help eliminate some of the bulk. So from the first score line away, and then again from the score line away. So basically where your tape backing is, that's where you're going to cut from. Okay? So I'm going to throw my little bits and pieces away. There we go. Right, and then what I'm going to do is then create the little pocket. So it creates like that. And what's nice about this is that I've given you a 1/2 centimeter gusset, so you can really fill up with lots of pockets, ephemera, postcards, photo mats. You can really go to town with what you can even make a small, like a compact little photo folio. It will fit in the front and the back quite comfortably, and there is still enough space for your album to close comfortably without gaping on the one side. So no crocodile mouth with this particular album. So I'm just making sure that my corners attach nicely. It just makes it easier when I have to stick everything down. Right, so there's that 1/2 centimeter gusset. So, and if you're going to add a gusset, remember the gusset is not only on the sides but has to be at the bottom as well. So I'm going to attach that one just slightly away from your score line. You don't want to attach it flush against the score line on the right where the gusset is, because it'll catch. And I just showed you there, if you want to, before you stick it, if you want to make a little notch in there, now's the time to do it. Okay, so I'm going to use my ruler just as a guide. I think it's about 1/2 centimeter. The pocket gets attached about 1/2 centimeter from the bottom. I'm double checking and going to make the mark now. You will just want to get it in reasonably straight. So it's just really a guide. If you are confident, you can just eyeball it with the page on the right and just line it up. So I'll just pop my ruler in just to give me a guide of where to go. And just remember, don't attach it too close to that score line, because there is a gusset, so it will cause, if the gusset falls into that score line, your album is not going to close properly. Okay, so I'm also making a mark to be sure, and I'll draw a little line there so that I know exactly the furthest or the closest I can get to that score line and not to go past that line. Okay, that looks about right on both sides. I'm just double checking, making sure. There is definitely a 1/2 centimeter. So if I hold it in place and close, my album is going to close comfortably, and it's not going to catch in the groove of the gusset on the fold. Okay, so just removing the tape backing on the sides, and I'll remove the entire tape backing at the bottom. Okay, and then I'm just going to line that up about 1/2 centimeter from the bottom, and about 1/2 centimeter away from the score line. And again, double checking that it's straight, making adjustments. Remember, this is before you burnish everything in place, this is the chance to fix things. Okay, obviously didn't get it straight. Oh yes, and then I remembered, because I'm attaching my pocket onto the construction tape, because it's fabric, the tape won't hold as long as for too long, and I have found that it does come loose if you stick tape onto the construction tape. So adding a little bit of glue on top of the tape makes for a better bond between the construction tape and the paper. There we go. I've made sure that the glue is nicely worked in. It's not just one little line. There's enough glue to make sure there's a good bond between paper and the construction tape. Okay, just using my burnishing tool to burnish everything in place. I'm holding the pocket in place and then just making sure that I'm rubbing down on those hinges, the joining hinges. The burnishing tool is not long enough, so I'm using the ruler just to get to the bottom one. Work very gently, because if you push too hard, you'll push your ruler right through your paper. So it's just gentle, and you can see that I am holding the pocket in place as I go. I'm making sure that it's really joined at the top, good burnish. And again with the ruler, working nice and slow, making sure that I don't push my ruler right through my pocket. Okay, and then we're just going to repeat that process at the back. There we go, everything's in place. And then that's your 30 by 21, I think, and it's scored in the middle to make a little booklet that's going to go in there. And like I said, you can really fill it up. You can add extra photo mats, you can add extra booklets, you can even make a little folio to go inside there. All right, so we're going to repeat that process at the back. Okay, remember this is the joining hinge, so I am later going to add a cardstock to cover it, and that'll secure it in a little bit more. In the meantime, we're going to attach the pocket. The pocket is going to be attached 1/2 centimeter away from the score line. Okay, so that it gives it gives space for the gusset that I have in the pocket. So you can draw that line. I think I went a bit skew. I'll draw the line again. Okay, and then 1/2 centimeter from the bottom. It'll be easy enough to line up with the pages on the other side. Okay, I'm just going to make a mark and make another mark and then draw a line. It's just a very faint line. It just gives me somewhere to begin, to use eyeball, and then it's my guide. I can make, if it's not 100%, I can make adjustments. So I'm just testing to make sure that my pocket is not going to stick out once my album is closed, that I don't have the pocket gaping off to the right. It needs to be in line with my pages. So if not, then I can shift it slightly to the left if need be. Not too much, because I do need that little bit of that gusset. But I think the measurements are spot on, so it goes in quite comfortably. Alright, so I've just rubbed out the line so that it's not too dark. Because obviously once I've stuck the pocket on, I can't rub the line out. Okay, then just joining my corners so that my pocket is one unit, and it's easier for me to stick that down and to handle. Right, and then I'm just going to again add some glue over that. So you need to make sure the glue goes from corner to corner, from side to side, and that there's a good amount of glue on. If you just put a thin little line, it's not going to stick to the construction tape. Obviously, if you've used paper, it's not a big deal. You can just use the tape. If you used paper to cover your album with, okay, popping the ruler back, make sure I get it straight. There is a faint line I need to get my pocket attached to. There we go. Before I burnish, I'm just making sure that it's in the right place, that my album can close. Remember, the glue is still wet, so it will still shift a little bit, but it's easy enough for me to shift back into place. You just need to remember that. Okay, and then I'm going to again take a burnishing tool and then just rub in those edges to make sure that everything sticks down well. Get rid of any air bubbles. You can see that wherever I burnish, I am holding my pocket in place. Remember that, otherwise, because like I said, the glue is wet, and if you don't hold it, you're going to shift it all over the place. There we go. Working very gently with the ruler to make sure that I get that hinge burnished down good and solid. Going in again with the burnishing tool at the top. There we go. I've got that in nicely. And again, on this side, we're going to pop in, well, first I'm going to put the pin back in the glue, and then we'll put the insert in. So that's your insert that measures 30 centimeters across. I think it's 21 high, and then you've scored it in half. Okay. And there you go, ladies. That is the construction of the album done. In the next video, we'll cover embellishing.